All right, what is going on, my dudes? We are back here today with a little bit of a guide for the final week. We've really got 3 weeks to do this for Eternity of Pain. Now, this was a lot easier than I anticipated it being, so I'm not really sure how I want to go about making this guide. There are 6 objectives for you to complete. And the objectives, honestly, they're a little weird. It's you have to go through the boss rush of 4 champions where you have 3 champions to bring without using a particular class. And there are 6 objectives, 1 for each class. So at the least, it's impossible for you to go through this thing without completing at least 3 objectives. So what I'm going to be doing here today is I'm going to be just listing some top options in each class, all 6 that I believe are going to be the best options to use for this boss rush. And then at that point, it's up to you to go into your roster and pick a team of 3 to go through, right? And then pick another team of 3 and make sure you leave out 1 per each class during those 2 runs. Now I'll tell you like who I use and stuff like that, but first things first, let's go over the bosses very quickly. So there were 4 bosses and they go in this order: Crossbones, Icarus, Blade, and Dormammu. Now Crossbones, too long didn't read. He has Biohazard and Bane, right? And you need to have 3 buffs on him. Icarus is a little rough. You don't want to really use light attacks against him. If you're using medium, you kind of want to use a special attack. You have to knock him down, and he has the node that puts a heal block on you every time he uses a special attack, all right? Now, Blade, the hardest thing about Blade here is that the AI on Blade is just honestly absolutely atrocious. It's probably the worst AI I've ever seen on any piece of content ever, man. This guy sidesteps you, intercepts you. It's absolutely nuts. He has unblockable special attacks. He has a thing where if you hit him, power surge or whatever, where he uses special one, he'll have another special attack ready to go. Destructive feedback. The hardest thing about him, honestly, is just the AI. The nodes are not too bad. And then Dormammu is actually a really fun fight. He has Footloose, and he has the node where you're kind of resistant to degen, and you need 3 buffs. You have to get buffed up on you. At the same time, if you knock him down, you push the degen onto him. Now, if you want to know top 10 counters for all 4 of these bosses, right? I uploaded those videos prior, the past month or so. You can just type in Karate Mike, Eternity of Pain, top 10. All the videos will come up, okay? So, with all that being said, let's start jumping into the video today. So, first things first, we're going to go over the cosmic options, the best cosmic options that I believe for Return of the Pain the final week. It's going to be Hercules, guys. Seriously, guys, you use Hercules. I'm being serious. If you have Herc, use Herc. Like, I cannot stress enough how Hercules just rips right through this entire thing, man. Completely rips through it. Is it shocking at this point that Hercules is the best option for the boss rush? No, right? He didn't fit any of the objectives the past few weeks, so we didn't use him, right? But obviously he could do every week, and he could do this week. It's just, it's Herc, guys. He's the best champ in the game. Get used to it. But if you don't have Hercules, right, we'll go over the rest, but if you have a man, it's a no-brainer. It is an absolute no-brainer. Other cosmic options, Ronin, really good, actually, for Icarus. You could cheese the entire thing. King Groot, super sustainable, can go through a bunch of these fights, and, if you have a high sig, rank 3 King Groot, it's going to be quick and easy to go through this stuff. Not quick. It's going to be pretty easy. Although I do think King Groot is bugged at the moment, so might not want to use him. CGR as well, big damage, right? He's going to be a good time. You don't want to use him against Blade because he's a dimensional being, but I have heard he's very good against Dormammu, where you have to have buffed up. I'm sure he's good enough against Icarus where you can get some good damage in, right? All right, let's start moving on to the skill options now. Now, over here we have Shang-Chi in the top spot. I believe 3 out of the 4 weeks, Sweeter uploaded the video of just cheesing the entire thing with Shang-Chi. Now, you don't have to cheese it with Shang-Chi. He's just a very efficient, solid character for stuff like this. So if you haven't ranked up Shang-Chi, definitely a decent option. Nick Fury as well, just a really, really, really great champion for stuff like this. Lots of high damage output. Going to be really good for Blade specifically. Hitmonkey as well, very good for Blade. You really want to make sure you have a counter for Blade. You want to make sure you have a counter for all of these things. But in this skill class, a little late for, this boss rush in my opinion, but these 3 I do see being very useful. As for Science, man, Science, all 4 of these I find to be really, really good for Dormammu. Spider-Gwen I find to be really, really good also for Blade, because she can kind of cheese the entire thing because of the unblockable special attacks, right? I guess you could toss in Miles Morales over here as well, because he also does that. I personally just do not like Miles at all. I'm a much bigger fan of Spider-Gwen. But yeah, Mr. Negative, absolutely amazing for Dormammu. Same thing for Spider-Ham. She-Hulk, same thing, right? Plus She-Hulk can actually have a lot of play against Icarus as well. So yeah, that's definitely important. If you can have a champion that can counter, multiple bosses, that's going to be really, really helpful. For Mystic, lots of decent options in Mystic. Dr. Doom, of course, really, really solid. He's going to be great for Dormammu, going to be great for Icarus. If for one of your runs, I do recommend bringing a Mystic champion for Icarus. It just makes life so much easier, right? If you want to cheese Icarus, you got Ronan to cheese him, but then I use Tigra for my Mystic, right? But all of these champions are going to be really, really good for Icarus. Also, Doom, really good for Dormammu, right? Can control the fight well enough against Blade. Tigra, really good for Blade, really good for Icarus. Dragon Dude, of course, really good for Crossbones. He's got that bleed immunity. Mango Eggnog, same thing there. Black Widow Clairvoyant, right? Same thing there. Also going to be really good against Dormammu, controlling Footloose and Diablo as well. Very tanky, very good damage, right? Good for gonna be good for Icarus, gonna be good for Blade. All right, let's look at Tech over here. Tech has a lot of good options because there are a lot of bleed immune options that are going to be really good for Crossbones. Personally, I find Ultron to be the best option for the Crossbones. My favorite team actually was Ultron, Nebula, and Hercules, and I used Ultron for Crossbones, and I used Hercules for Icarus and Blade, and then I used Nebula for most of Dormammu, messed up, died, and finished with Hercules, and Hercules would be just fine for the fight. But yeah, Ultron and Nebula, I see a lot of value in this boss rush for sure. Ghost, if you run Resonate, going to be really good for this guy right here. Also going to be really good for Icarus. Oh, no, not good because it's arm breaks, but going to be good for Blade as well, right? So Ghost, of course, big damage. Nimrod, definitely very good for Crossbones. Guillotine 299, really good for this style of content. Omega Sentinel, if you have her, a lot of people don't. She's very, very new, really good for a bunch of these fights. And Vision, man, specifically Age of Ultron Vision is very good for a lot of these fights as well. Really, really great champion for all of Eternity of Pain. Now, for Mutant, Omega Red, especially if you run Suicides, really amazing for Crossbones. He's decent for Blade. The AI just really was not letting me have my day today, man, against Blade. But yeah, Omega Red, I see a lot of value, and especially for that Crossbones. Again, you really need a good Crossbones counter. Luckily, he is the first fight, so if you go in, mess up, you can go ahead and start again. But that's who I used when I was using a Mutant. Apocalypse, of course, is an absolutely amazing champion, right? Kitty Pryde. Now, Kitty Pryde, you can have 3 champions here, so you could bring Kitty Pryde and Tigra on the same team. So Kitty Pryde is going to be really, really amazing for a lot of this stuff, right? I think she's going to be a really top option for Blade. Blade, again, really annoying fight. Strife as well, because you could ramp him up as you go along. You could ramp him up. You can use him against Icarus, and then you can use him for Blade. Then you can get to Dormammu pretty much ramped up and just blitz right through him. So if you have a rank 3, rank 4 Strife, you're going to have a pretty good time, especially if you pair him with Apocalypse, right? So, yeah, man, you could potentially do Apocalypse, Cable, Strife, and you can use, I mean, honestly, you can go in with APOC, die, use a revive, make Strife a horseman, and then use Strife for the entire thing, and you're gonna have a really good time. And that would complete 5 objectives right there, So that's what's so interesting about this week, is that you kind of have to build the team yourself, because you have to go through it at least twice, leaving out a champion of each class one time, if that makes sense. So for my teams, these are the 2 teams I use right here: Omega, Tigra, and Negative, and then Hercules, Ultron, and Nebula. And these were all fine. Like I said, I did not have a good time against Blade on the first run because I was just getting really messed over by the AI. But then I went in the second time and I soloed him effortlessly with Hercules, man. That's why I'm saying, guys, if you have Herc, seriously, man, he's going to make your life so much easier. So what I recommend you do with your roster is essentially this. Make a little sheet like this. You could do it by paper, right? You could do it on your phone in the Notes app. It doesn't have to be pretty like this. It doesn't have to have the color coordination, right? But as you can see, I have my 6 classes, right? And what you need is a dash. You need a dash in every single... And then once you have those options all written out, make your little list of Crossbones, Icarus, Blade, and Dormammu, and make sure you have a plan for all 4 bosses. As you can see, I have Unit Man over here, but the initial plan was Omega, right? But of course, the AI had different plans. But over here, this one went a lot more swimmingly, exactly how I planned. This one was absolutely itemless in the second run, right? So go through your roster, find your teams for today or the next 3 weeks, right? We have a long time to do this for some reason. But yeah, that's what I recommend you do. I do hope this video helped. There's a little hodgepodge of a video here because the objectives were so weird. I expected to make like specific top 10s for objectives, but the objectives is just don't use this class. It's like use one of 175 champions to do this objective. So it's very vast. So these are just champions who I think are good for the boss rush. It's essentially what this is. All right. So yeah, man, a bit of a different top 10 video here. Yeah, hope you enjoyed it. If you did, drop your boy a big like. Comment what you think about Eternity of Pain finale part 1 thingy in the comment section below. And make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any future videos just like this coming to you in, I guess, like 3 or 4 weeks. I'll be seeing you around. Good luck, guys.